What is up, winning team? This is actually going to be a serious video, but I just have to tell you this because I just think this is so funny, right? Because I've just returned from feeding the patriarchy. It was one of these random things that I've been getting up to, right? With these gentlemen, right? Is I actually go and cook for them in their houses. Because I like cooking, so... and they don't eat well, so I just go and cook for them in their houses. And it's actually hilarious because they just sit there like little children waiting for their food, telling me about stuff. No, but on a serious note, it's actually really enjoyable. And I'm just realizing that part of the reason I think I just don't feel like the need to socialize is because the small amounts of socializations that I do actually have are so much more fun than like, what else am I going to sit there and do? You know what I mean? So yeah, and then I just leave them with a couple of extra containers of food in the fridge and I skedads. It's as simple as that. So I'm telling you guys, I honestly enjoy these little side quests that I be going on. Anyways, we're back from feeding the patriarchy. Ain't that crazy? But I actually have a serious topic to talk about right now. And it's something that's actually really upsetting me. Like, and I don't know why I can't stop. I've been thinking about it. So actually, I do know why I've been thinking about it because of just stuff that's happened recently. And I realized I wanted to talk a bit more about my whole miscarriage. I know, what a change of tune and tone. But in this life we live in, listen, we don't have the luxury of just easing in and out of, some of us at least don't have the luxury of just easing in and out of uncomfortable conversations or situations because they're just forced upon us constantly. So, you know, to me, it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, so I want to talk about this miscarriage thing, right? Because I haven't really gone into... I haven't really gone into much detail other than the video that I made like maybe even a couple of years ago now. Where I was talking about sorry. Oh gosh, sorry guys. I'm really just distracted now, but in a good way. You see what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be in such a better mood now if it wasn't for these types of situations, right? I would just be still being annoyed and frustrated and like, just, you know. So as much as I'm actually doing this to help them, and you know, it also does actually help me. That's what I'm saying. Like, it actually, like, everybody's doing fine over here. It's the rest of y'all that's the ghetto. Yeah, so I haven't really talked a lot about what really happened in the process of it, and I actually want to talk about it because it's kind of deep. Because I talked with the Lord throughout the whole thing. This is what I mean. Me and the Lord, we've been through it. I told you we've had a relationship for the past 20 years. So he's been here for all the things happening. You know what I mean? And yeah, and and all these random side quests. And the thing about it was there's so many layers, right? Because I realized, I think yesterday or the day before, that actually this is the single event that has affected me the most as far as how I feel about being a woman, how I feel about people, how I feel about just everything. And the reason for that, the reason I want to address right now is this idea of being a firstborn child, right? And the pressures of being considered a role model, right? Because after the fact, this whole process happened, after I'd gone through the pain, I'd gone through the like grieving of it and all and everything, eventually I just felt actually relieved. And you know why I felt relieved? And this is just going to go to show like how my life has been. I was relieved that none of my living children would ever have to be a firstborn child. So they would never have to have the pressure of being a role model. And this is what I was thinking about just now, because it's not even for me about being a firstborn child, like in my family, like amongst my brothers. I'm also a firstborn on one side of the family and the second first on the other. And also in a lot of spaces where there's young people, like throughout my life, being a pastor's kid in the community and everything, there's always been this pressure. And it's, again, in African culture, there's always more pressure on us women to be this role model. And I hated it. Like, I've hated it my entire life, that it's made me feel like I don't actually matter. Like, I'm irrelevant because all I am ever is a servant to everybody. This is kind of why I'm laughing that I'm here saying this. And then I'm like going and actually like, you know, cooking for someone and doing whatever. Cooking for the patriarchy, that is. And like, So when I think about it, I feel relieved that none of my children will ever, ever, ever have to have that pressure. And I will do everything to let my next born child know they are the second born. Okay, the second born, because not to be really graphic, but that's not technically incorrect, because when you lose a baby, like, the baby still has to, be born, which again, traumatizing. And it just made me feel really sad that, like, at the end of the day, and these are the conversations I'd be having with the Lord, and people will find it really uncomfortable because people will be like, oh, why would you even think something like that? Like, this is why I haven't really opened up about it. Because I'm like, because my life has been like suffering. Like, I don't, like, I felt like I don't matter, because all it ever is anything that I want to do, anything that I want to be. Oh, well, you have to think about the factual role model. You have to think about the factual role model. You have to think about the factual role model. It's like I didn't ask to be a role model, just like I didn't ask to be born. So why have I got all this pressure where I'm expected to do this and I'm expected to do that because the younger ones are looking up to you and the younger ones are looking up to you? Oh my gosh, the pressure. Do you know how hard it's been? Like, this is actually why I've started to do these random things that I don't feel like there's anything wrong with, and why I don't even mind mentioning it in the video. Because I'm like, just because you people have no sense of self-control doesn't mean the rest of us do. And honestly, it's not my job to be a role model. It's the job of whoever gave birth to whoever in whether it's in my own family, whether it's in the community. It's not up to me, and it's not my pressure. And I don't understand this thing that we have where we're just so ready to just put all the pressure on somebody else that we're not prepared to take onto ourselves. Because that's my thing. I'm like, how come everyone feels so comfortable to tell me what I need to do and what I need to be and all this, but then so ready to just push to the side what you need to do and you being a role model? That's why I said, you know what, guys, if you want a role model now, oh, you're going to get one. I'm going to be the role model of the powerful woman of God that none of you ever were. And that's what I'm going to show the people. And it's, do you know what? It's going to cause issues. So this is the thing. So I've been thinking about that, and I've been realizing that, I genuinely, I hate to say it, but I genuinely feel like, thank God for my child, like, that they get to be safe with the Lord in heaven. Like, that's how I felt. And that's why I never spoke about it. Because I was just like, if I say this, people are going to be like, because again, when I feel like it's the reason why people are so attached to existing here on this planet is because you haven't figured out what you need to figure out for the other side. Because objectively, it's way better in heaven than here. So I'm like, well, first of all, what the timing of this whole situation was very bad. Let's start there. So it wouldn't have been the best for my, for my baby at the time. But also, so from that standpoint, I was like, honestly, you are safer with the Lord, actually. Like, as much as I hate to say it, and it's really dark. And I've said to you guys before that I would never get in. And that's how I know, like I've even said before, I've talked about this idea of having an abortion and all this, and why I know I would never do it. Because before this whole miscarriage situation started to actually happen, in the coming weeks prior, when I knew I was pregnant, I can't believe I'm talking about this on the internet. I already knew that I already started to realize that this wasn't the best, right? And this is another one of those things where I feel like the Lord does allow certain things to happen to me, or has allowed me to do certain things to also keep me humble, right? Because I could have just been the same as the rest of the adult population, if you can imagine. But the thing is, I wouldn't have made the excuse. And that was always my thing. I knew going into it that, like, whatever happens, listen, this is my doing. So I want to be clear, it wasn't a mistake. Just so you all know, this is a very intentional choice made by me and said individual. So I just want that to be clear. It wasn't just some accident. Oh no. Right. But then I realized afterwards that this, again, it wasn't an accident. It was just more like, I'll shorten it by saying this. Some of us were far more prepared than others. Okay. Far more prepared than others. To be completely honest, this is what happened. And this is, again, where I've realized I now don't trust the male population, anything they say at all, because of this. I'm realizing this now, because individual in question had said at the time, they were like, no, I want, like, there was so much wrong with us deciding to do it anyways, right? Because first of all, anyway, but individual in question and I had talked about it at length. That's the thing. It's just that when the situation actually started to happen, individual in question couldn't handle it. And I'll never forget specifically what he said, because I was like, this just went from like a huge blessing to the worst case scenario. Because as he was freaking out about everything, even though we talked about everything, and again, this is why I don't trust my discernment anymore at all when it comes to men in general. So I'm realizing a lot of things are actually tied into this thing, so I should actually just talk about it. He says, oh, well, I didn't really think it through. No, I didn't really think about what I was saying. Through all the weeks of conversations that we had on the subject, you didn't think about what you were saying. You didn't think about what you were saying. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this place being the ghetto. Because when I got into what I got into, I made the decision and I thought about it and I agreed to it. And you're now turning around and telling me you didn't think about what you were saying. I can't do both sides of the thing. Like, this is what's been frustrating me. I was thinking about. So after having said all of that and whatever, and I do believe, I'll be honest, I do believe that some of the stress of these conversations, because I was even saying like, look, we really need to like this. You're overly stressing me, and I don't think this is good for me. I don't think this is good for me, like right now. Like I can't be like and it was the first time in my life I ever had to really like not allow my body to be under stress. And that was really hard for me because I'm used to just absorbing everything from everyone, and just like, even if no one can help with anything, just get through it by yourself. Take a deep breath, shut up, boss up, stand up, like get through it. But this is the first time that I knew I couldn't do that, because I knew that like there's an actual real life living in me that I have to look after. I can't afford for my cortisol to be spiking. I can't afford for my blood pressure to be off. I need to be able to just stay as calm as possible. You know what I'm saying? And I was calm about the situation, because for me, when I found out, when I knew that it was happening, and I knew it immediately before I even took a test, because again, I've been highly in tune with my body for a very long time, like throughout my life. I've always enjoyed being in tune with my body, even while I was still on birth control. But you know, so when I said when like this whole thing happened, yeah, I was like so stressed, and it was the first time that I couldn't afford to be, and there was just no other option at that moment, because there was nobody. Also, bearing in mind, who was I going to tell about this situation when it happened, right? Because there's only two people, this individual and one other person, who knows when this even happened. Okay. The rest of it, I kept completely to myself, so no one would have known. I just didn't tell anybody anything, because I don't have anybody to trust. Like, that was a really hard thing. And I feel like that's the thing that actually gets me, where I'm just like, you know, what's the point? That is actually it, because there was nobody I could trust. Some of the people I would have told would have made it into a big skeptical and gone around sharing everything with the whole world and everything, and using this as their next piece of gossip to go and spread about me, as if I hadn't given them enough like ammunition just from existing. You know what I mean? And then there's obviously all these pressures always about the role model and this. And again, like I said, this wasn't an accident. So I didn't just casually accidentally happen, because that would be hella messy from me. I did it intentionally. I was just still ignorant in what I did. But it was very much intentional. And because I've always known for myself that I'm never going to walk into that situation without having thought about it, you know? But yeah, I had nobody to talk to. Like, I had nobody that I could trust that would keep it to themselves. That was the main thing. Like, there was a few people that I would have loved to have been able to have had in my corner just to talk at that time. And the fact that I knew I couldn't actually even tell them, for the fear of them going and running their mouth to the whole world, or to whoever they feel like they need to go and tell. That's why I didn't tell anybody. Like, that's why I kept it to myself. Because again, that would the thought of having to deal with that was also something I was worried about, stressing out my body. Like, because I'm thinking, I can't let my body be stressed out. And then obviously I went through the feelings of like, oh my gosh, I've already failed, because how was it to get? And I went through all the things that I've heard other women who've been through these types of things saying. And in the end, you know, by the end of it, it was another one of those situations that I just had to tough it out by myself. And I was just kind of like, you know what? But even more than that, it's like, why am I, like, going back to this role model thing, it's like the standards and the expectation is always so high. And that's what's exhausting, because I've been talking a lot about my exhaustion, because really there's nothing else to talk about, because really that's all I'm thinking about a lot of the time is just how tired I am when I'm not, doing other things. Um, and I'm here feeling exhausted all the time. And I'm like, why am I exhausted? Because it's just the pressure is so high. And like, I remember, even as I've become an adult and other people who I've known throughout my life, become adults, people that were younger than me, and hearing them tell me as an adult, like, I'm thinking, oh, it's nice, and I try to, do the like older person thing of like, I check on them. If, sometimes I go and visit them, like if they're at university, I'll go and visit them and stuff like that, like just to make sure that they're settled. And also because I fear for them, for the things that they will face that they're ignorant to, that also their parents and all the other adults are ignorant to, while they're shoveling their kids out of the house at 18. So I always make the effort, like with kids that I know, like younger people than me, like when they turn 18 and they go to university, I always go and visit them in their first year, ideally in the first term, like just to make my face also known that there's another person, there's like an older person in their life who's actually around. And obviously I'm young enough that I can actually go to the parties and stuff with them, even though it's like, I feel like I'm in a freaking playground. I feel like it feels like the same as like standing as a teacher in the playground and there's just a bunch of kids around, even though I'm not that much older than them, but you all know how it goes. But yeah, and so like I go and check on them to make sure that they're okay. So I'm still kind of big sistering them in a way, but because I'm like, just to make sure, because there's so many dumb decisions that I've made, and like it's all the dumb decisions in my life that I've made, this being one of them, that I just makes me just think I should not be left on this planet unsupervised. And it's just overwhelming trying to make sure that you make all the right decisions, and sometimes even with the right intentions, although albeit I was misled in this situation, outside of what actually happened between me and him, but like also just my decision process. But then at the time, I honestly didn't think I was doing anything wrong. And like, this is the problem I'm having like in life, where I'm just like, wow, I am trying to do some things that are good with the right intentions, with the wrong execution. And then I'm having the pressure of being the role model because I'm the first this, the first that, the oldest this, the oldest here, and I'm a woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm just glad that these things had happened. I will at least tell you when I was an adult, after I moved out, obviously. I'm making these decisions and I'm doing these things ignorantly. And then at the same time, with no support, at the same time being put on this pedestal of like, you have to be this role model. Like, half the reason I did that okay, I'm not going to call my degree stupid, because actually my degree was worth doing. The debt is not worth it. The debt is not worth it. I'd rather not have any debt from going to university than have gone to university. And do you know one of the saddest things about this? When I went to university, I've already started out in debt immediately, because everything was more expensive than I needed, and I was just having faith that I'd find a job, and there's a lot of things went wrong. And I sold the electric piano that I had, and I've been thinking about that as well, like in terms of a regret, like, because it wasn't like it made a huge dent in the amount of money I was going to need. I probably sold it for what, like, and again, because I was ignorant, I didn't know how good it was. I found out after the fact it was worth like £800. I think I sold it for like 170 on eBay, right, to this store in London, ironically. And they were looking for this specific model because they don't make it anymore, and it was just incredible. And I've been thinking, again, now I'm here trying to do this music thing, which I feel like giving up again on this, because I just feel so behind, and I just feel so ill-equipped. And it's like, had I never sold that thing, and I'd had it this whole entire time since I was 18, that would have been 10 years. I used to write songs. I used to play them for myself. Like, I've been getting frustrated, to be honest with you, like the last week or so, the last couple of days, with how long, or in general, how long it takes to produce the songs, because it's just never as good as when you immediately think about it. It just doesn't carry as well. You know what I mean? Because you start to overthink everything, and that's when I start to kind of lose interest, as the last couple of days. Yet last night there was a song in my dreams, and I was like, oh my gosh, what I would give to be able to produce this song like immediately. There was another song the day before, a couple of days before, And I was like, oh my gosh, if I had known what I know now. And it's a lot of if I had known what I know now's, you know, I would never have sold that thing. It would have never been worth it. It would have been worth whatever it took to get that extra. Like I said, I was just selling stuff and I was just trying to get together to make money to try and, you know, go to university. Because apparently that's what I was supposed to be doing to end up in however much debt I'm in now. You know what I'm saying? And it's even, again, the other day, the stupid student loans company emailing me, like, I don't know how they got my email. Actually, of course they have my email. They're emailing me like, we need you to update your work, this, to let us know. Is to make sure that if you need to do any repayments. I'm like, you guys already know my employment. You guys know my employment before I tell you. Because the last time I was even at another job when I wasn't like doing what I'm doing now, or one of the times, they even were the ones who sent me a letter to be like, hey, we know you're working at such and such and such now. So why are you hounding me? And again, it's just another thing exhausting me and another stupid thing of me trusting in the advice of other people. Another example of me being the dumb idiot, the dingbat of it all, trusting anyone. And that's why I feel like I have to talk about this stuff, because some of these things, this is one of those things that like is actually affecting me. I know I say a lot of other things, they don't necessarily affect me, but I talk about them. This is one of those things. To go through such a traumatic event on my own, to try and have to advocate for myself when I'm in so much pain and have to convince people that I'm actually in pain and for people not to take me seriously, to have the person that I was trusting at the time tell me that they didn't think about what they were saying, right? For me to not be able to open up to the others around, I was just like, this is why I was like, you know what? As sad as it was, and it's really sad thinking about it, but I really felt like, I felt like my baby was better off. I was like, you go and you be safe with God, because maybe I should just never do this ever again. And honestly, that's it. You know, maybe I should just never do this ever again, because this place is the ghetto. This place is the ghetto, and it's insane that, like, despite everything, like, this is what I've been thinking to myself. It's like, you can actually do like everything. You can actually like do the degree that everybody's asking you to do and get a good job and look after yourself and be responsible and be a role model, right? And for what? What do you get out of it? Absolutely diddly squat nothing. This is why I've decided in this season of my life, this year, I decided, oh, I'm about to enjoy my life and do the things that I want to do, no matter what anybody has to say, as long as I feel like the Lord, you know, the Lord is who I go to, so not anybody else in the world. Because why have I been under the pressure this whole time, always, of being a role model? And I'm just thinking, you know, thank God, because even if I was never going to say that to my child, other people do it. Like, I was always told, you're the oldest there, you're the oldest. It's not just like, this is why when I'm telling you guys stories, don't go in like towards my family about it, because look, even if whether they are or not guilty of the things I'm saying, the whole world is guilty, because it's always other people as well. You know, it's always other people like, but you're a role model, but you have to think that you're a role model. So I'm like, my life doesn't matter. What I want doesn't matter. What makes me happy doesn't matter, because all that matters is that I'm a good role model. And for what? Well, the rest of you get to go and live however you want to live and be however you want to be, but I've got to be here being everybody's role model for their kids. And then everyone's all like happy clappy, like, oh, wow, we're so proud of you. It's so nice for them to have such a great example. It's so nice for everyone to have, this is why I wish to all of, oh my gosh, if it wasn't for the fact that I have the Lord and the Lord has softened my heart and has taken over, I swear I would turn so petty and I would do everything to be the worst role model possible. I would go off crazy and disappoint everyone. That's what I would do, just to be petty, for having put in all this work, all for everything always to get thrown back in my freaking face. Yeah, now we're talking about the deeper things, aren't we? You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, and then it's always people like, but there's other great people in the world, you should give the other people a chance. When do they show up? Here at the winning team. But you guys get what I'm saying, right? And it gets to a point, like, especially being a young woman, can I be so honest? When you're like a young woman, the thing is, when you get to a certain age, and this is the other thing that upsets me, and you realize you made certain mistakes, but you made them in ignorance, but there's no going back now, because now everybody's judging you on the decisions that you made, and you're like, honestly, I didn't even realize I was doing anything bad. Like, that's the thing I keep thinking about. A lot of things, I didn't think I was doing anything bad, so how was I supposed to know? But now I'm being held with all my, like, whatever. like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, you should have known better. I'm like, how was I supposed to know better? Genuinely speaking, how was I supposed to know better? And I remember the conversation I had with the Lord, and I just said, God, you know what? Before I even the miscarriage even started, I was like, God, I know that I now understand that I didn't make the right decision here, and for that I'm sorry. But what I will say is, I will not be getting rid of this baby, because I'm not. I said I would never do it. I couldn't do it. I personally couldn't live with myself, personally, and so therefore I didn't. But then I ended up having a miscarriage, which is the deep part of the whole story. And because it's like, wow. And it was actually just after I prayed that prayer to the Lord, if you can imagine. And I didn't wish to lose my baby, by the way. I had already thought at length about what I was going to do about the situation, because I was prepared for the situation, because I wasn't the one just saying things that I wasn't thinking. So there's that, right? Yeah, so it's just a sad tale. It's just another one of the many tragedies, of it all. And yeah, so the thought of doing it all again, and the amount of pain I was in, to be in such severe pain, like so severe, because it's like way worse than period pains. I've had bad period pains, you guys know. I wake up in hot sweats at 3 a.m, and I'm like laying in the fetal position, literally crying, right? I'm taking the over-the-counter painkillers. It's not doing enough. They put me on these other horse pills. It's not doing enough. That's why they put me on the birth control, because they were like, this might help, when I was 16. But the pain that I had, oh my gosh. And then I asked the Lord to take it away. He just said no. Because he's like, you need to think about the magnitude of what's happening right now. So for like the whole entire 6 to 8 weeks, however long it went on, all day, every day, I was in excruciating pain. And like trying to communicate to people around me that so-called care about me, that I'm really in a lot of pain right now. Like, and I just need this, or can you just help with this? And to just be so disregarded as well, and just shoved to the side, like, it's very hurtful. I'm not gonna lie. And that's why I'm like, it's cool. I'll just be independent. Why does everybody have a problem with that? Because now if I say I want to go and live alone in my castle with 9 dogs in Antarctica, now I'm the one who needs to change my feelings and open up to people and let people in. And for what? You see what I'm saying? So like, these are the things I've been thinking about the last week or so, just because I don't know what it was specifically. I feel like it was actually the Jezebel encounter specifically, because her showing up and her kind of affirming what I was thinking already. Well, not what I was thinking already, but what I didn't quite understand about my experiences. But the way that she kind of like was just looking at me like, you're still not seeing it, are you? Like, you're still not seeing it, because I have done all these things. I do have all these achievements. I was the damn role model, and I have all these accolades and trophies and things and success. That's why no one takes my pain seriously. Because how could anything be going wrong for me? Oh my gosh, yeah. It's what I'm saying. So can you see how that circles back to me then being so grateful that no one, because I'm never obviously going to tell any future kids, if I have them, that you're the role model of nothing. Do I think it's good to have a little healthier sense of responsibility as a child being older? Yes, like I said, I always look out for the younger ones, you know what I mean? This is why I terrorized my brothers all the time. It's because I'm looking out for them, just to make sure that they're all right to an extent, but I'm also like, I remember the day the Lord told me this, right? It was great. I was about 21, and the Lord was like, you know that you're nobody's parent. And I thought, that's a revelation that I needed to hear, because people are treating me as if I'm supposed to be this type of example to that extent, and there's not even. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I am not nobody's parent, actually. So why are people putting pressure on me to be a good example, to look after people and all this, like they're my own child? As if I don't volunteer to do that enough. It's part of what I do. So there you go. there's the painful truth about the miscarriage story arc. There it is. Because it's like, you know, it's something that, now that I think about it, it was just such a big turning point for me. It was a huge turning point because I already thought a lot of things, you know, like what I realized going into my 20s, especially being like my mid-20s. I remember realizing that, you know what, it's so funny how you think, like you would think in life that you would have people that at one point, even if it's just on one particular day, because I would always be asking, like the Lord's one who taught me that I'm only ever asking people for the bare minimum and I should ask for more, but I'm like, God, I don't get the bare minimum. I just would have appreciated a conversation. I would have appreciated some people that could just keep the information to themselves and not think, oh, this is fun to have another story. You know what I mean? To go and spread, you know? And these people, we have to kind of thank them for sponsoring this channel, because honestly, a lot of them are the reason why I don't mind just telling my business on the planet. Because it's like, well, if other people are just going to share whatever they want to share about me anyway, I might as well I want in on it as well then. I may as well take my turn to tell my side of, not my side, because I'm not going against specifically things I've heard other people say about me. But like, I'm just saying, like, what's the point of me holding back anyways when there's already stories going? I may as well tell the ones I want to tell that are truthful, since there's stuff flying around anyway. You know, and these are all women. Again, it's all women. It's all women. Like, there's very women and types of women who you would think would hear of me going through something like that and would come in and want to help. No, they want to go and gossip and go and spread rumors and spread lies and say, oh, we knew this and and then I'm sure. And the thing is, I was so sure, you know, the way that the story would have come out would have been so extremely different to what actually happened. They would have been saying things like, and then she doesn't even know who the father is, and this was all a mistake because while she was just doing this, and that could not have been further from the truth. And it's like, in a lot of situations in my life, the reason I just keep to myself is because I don't have the energy to go through what I'm going through and also play the defense. I'm playing attack. It's like I have to play defense and attack while I'm also doing whatever I'm doing. It's too much. It's too much pressure. It's too much exhaustion. I'm already figuring out my own life and figuring out what I have to do. And at the same time, I have to play defense on what's coming against me, and also kind of have to play a bit of an attack to get people to back off. Right? And everyone's all like, yeah, you need to have stronger boundaries. I'm like, yeah, I do have the best boundaries right now, which is just keeping everybody as far away as possible. And so I intentionally made sure not to have friends in the same country as me, because I'm keeping people at arm's length on purpose. Because I'm like, God forbid I trust the wrong person again. God forbid I'm trusting the wrong friends. God forbid I'm trusting the wrong whatevers, right? That's why I can easily go and, you know, talk to some of these guys and just go to their house and cook for them and leave. Because you know what? There's no real risk of that. First of all, they're men anyway, so they're not going to be heinous and whatever. And also, neither of us want either of our business to be shared with the world. And it's not going to be, because I'm not going to share it. And why are they doing that? They're not freaking, you know. So it's actually a win-win. It's funny that I started that out thinking that was irrelevant, but it was actually highly relevant to the story of what I'm telling in this video. This piece of my hair that is just a bit short here is bothering me. This is really why I don't do the natural thing, because it's all just different lengths. How are we here over here? We're like here over here, and then we're like here over here. It's a joke. Anyway, but we're working. It's all because of, you know, anyway. You can watch the video, I talked about it, but yeah, this piece, that bit there is really just annoying me. So yeah, it's just funny. I'm just sharing these stories because I feel like, you know, it's needed. It's needed for me to be open and transparent and honest. It's needed for stories like this to be shared, because I think there's always this assumption. It's like I was saying in this video, the one before, about when I was saying the reasons why people take their own life and why I think people are a little bit tone deaf with how they deal with people in those situations. Like, there really are reasons why people are doing things. And just because you don't get it for yourself, or just because you have a different situation, that doesn't mean that somebody else who's telling you something else is incorrect or lying. Because that's what I was thinking about during this miscarriage, when I was going through all this pain for this like near 2 months that it went on for. And I was thinking, I really right now don't have the energy to have to convince anyone that what I'm saying is true. I already don't in general. because I have to have the energy to convince everybody. Then I have to have the energy to fight off the attacks, the energy for the defense, the energy to figure out everything by myself, the energy to this. Then still somehow I'm supposed to have the energy to what? Enjoy life. Where? You know what I mean? And that's what it was like. That's how it was, you know? And so, yeah, I've realized now in hindsight, it was a really huge turning point for me, actually, because it was like the time when I realized, oh, I'm really giving up now on the Homo sapien, like in general. It's just so much work. It's just so much work having to just fight back all the time and everything. And then people don't believe you. And why don't they believe you? Oh, because you were a role model. Because you're a role model. What could be possibly wrong in your life, and what could possibly be going wrong for you when you had this and you had that, even though those things I all worked for. That's the other thing. That's why I realized what losers really are because I've heard it so many times that people are like, you know, have that kind of attitude of like, well, you obviously was easy for you. It was easy for you. It was like, easy for me. Do you know how hard I had to work? How hard I had to work. Like I'm saying, I went immediately into debt because I didn't have enough money to pay my deposit at my first flat, right? Which, again, all these types of things, to me, in hindsight, were red flags, right? About the whole situation. I've immediately gone into debt on day one of moving into the place I was moving into. And so I'm scrambling, bearing in mind that I only got my student finance confirmation a week before I was supposed to start at university, which I'd applied early on purpose, so I should have known in like May and been able to plan properly like everybody else. But no, there was I last minute trying to find somewhere to actually move to and to actually live the week before, right? And just, oh my gosh, yeah, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. And I'm like, so the fact that I walked out and I graduated with a pure chemistry degree from the Royal Society of Chemistry after all that I went through, after everything I had to do to get to the end of that degree, losing my grandmother in my second year, who's the only reason I even did that degree, because I wanted to make her proud so that she could see her first grandchild graduate and see that all her hard work was worth it. So she was the only reason I was even doing it in the first place, right? And not that she asked me, by the way, I just want to say, but I wanted to do that for her out of gratitude. So that was what was making it worth it. Right, and all these different things that happened. So when I lost her in my second year of university, and I'm still soldiering on, I'm still working all these jobs, I'm still seeing it through, going into my final year, doing all the extra exams doing exams that a lot of courses don't do, on top of coursework, on top of lab reports, on top of a full research project that is completely independently led, that I'm writing by myself, and I'm working on top of it. Right, and I'm doing all these other things, as you know. I was still doing dance and whatnot because I needed things to actually keep me sane. Because that's what people be like, why don't you give up the dance stuff and focus? I'm like, I need something to keep me sane. I need somewhere to go blow off steam. Are you kidding me? Do you know how hard everything actually is? It's so nice to just be able to go and move my body for the next 3 hours and just like release of all this pressure, right? And then still graduate and everything. And then for people to be like, oh, you're so lucky to have your degree. I would love to see you try and do my degree. I would love to see people do the degree I did. I would love to see it. And the competencies, that was the thing I had to do. I had to have a competency report and prove that you know how to use the HPLC machine, and you had to know how to use this machine, you know how to use this technique, you know how to do that technique. We had to do all these things. It was a lot. It was a lot. But I made it happen because I'm a winner. That's the point. That's why I'm here talking about this stuff, because I'll still win above all these things. I don't need to hide away. I don't need to lie on no one's name. I don't need to even pretend these things haven't happened, because they're all part of lessons in how I'm going to win overall in the game of life. And I've taken things away that are going to bring me to be the winner at the end of the day. But guess what? They're all going to say, oh, it must be so nice for you. Just you wait. When the winning season's in full force, guys, oh my gosh, just you wait. It's going to be the same. Oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. You're such a loser. You're a loser. And yeah. Anyways, I'm going to leave that there. I really need to get off my chest because I was just really feeling upset and like crying and just thinking, oh my gosh, this pressure of being a role model my whole life has been excruciating. And the fact that me actually excelling at a lot of things and fulfilling the weight that was placed on my shoulders is actually the reason why people don't have empathy for me, and why I'm actually always so lonely in my pain and struggles is actually insane. It's actually insane to think about, to be honest with you. But I'm not even mad about it anymore. I'm more just like realizing, because I'm trying to analyze myself so I can do better, so I can grow. Like I said, that's what winners do. And so I'm addressing it so that I can kind of just release it. Like that's what I do in my videos. Honestly, I talk about things on here and then I kind of just release it. Like, okay, I've addressed it now. I know what it is. I've talked about it at length with the Lord for years now. Obviously, we've been talking about it for years since it happened. And I finally feel like I'm at the place where like I'm ready to actually just let the whole whatever I'm feeling about the situation go and just like start fresh and not really care about a lot of things and just do things the way I want to in life. And not because of what so-and-so said and what so-and-so said, not because of being a role model or nothing. The pressure of being a role model was one of those things that actually made me want to take my own life. That was another thing. Because I'm like being made to feel bad for not doing good enough when you're already like, I would never understand why the bar is set like in the sky, right? For me, I'm reaching the bar and I'm exceeding the bar. Bearing in mind all the people, all of the adult population telling me this, none of them have come close to this bar that's been reached. I'm reaching the bar and I'm still being told I'm not doing good enough. Do you know how hopeless that made me used to making me feel? So yeah, I'm very much in the season of like, I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't care what anybody other than the Lord has to say. I'll spend my time with the people that I want to spend my time with. I've met a lovely team over here at the Winning Team and lots of lovely people from you guys and people who, you know, I just want to see win. And I understand the things I'm talking about because I'm sure you guys relate to a lot of the topics I talk about. That's why I share them with you all, because I'm sure you guys relate. And I'm sure you're listening and thinking it may not be, you know, per se a miscarriage or something like that. It might be something different, but there's things that you have experienced where you're like, oh, I get that feeling. I know what it's like to be in that position and it sucks. And so it brings me so much peace in a way to share with you guys, because I also hope that you just get to feel seen as well, because some of these feelings you can't say to anyone. That's why people have to go to therapy, because if you ever tell any of the so-called people that care about you, they'll just tell you, oh, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this. No wonder everyone has to go to therapy. There's nobody listening. Anybody can just sit and listen or be empathetic or sympathetic, especially once you've won. And that's something I want you guys to really understand about winning, is that people, I'm going to do that as a separate video. You know what? I'm going to do that as a separate video. I've recorded so many videos. Anywho, I'd just like to say, yeah, on that note, once again, long live the patriarchy for actually bringing some sunshine to my day. In the midst of all the deep thoughts that I'm having. It's not even like I was talking about this, by the way, or anything like this. That's the funny thing. But you know, it's nice. It's nice to be treated like a human being. You know what I mean? And not to be made to feel bad for being good at stuff, or like just because I'm good at doing something, like my voice can't be heard anymore. I can't go through my own struggles in life just because whatever you've perceived. Like, that's really nice. I just like to say, and it's really nice to be able to help people in their lives with the skills I do have. I like to help people. That's why it just sucks. Like I like it. I'm a giver. I'm always going to be a giver. I love to help people. I like to see people smile. There's nothing that makes me feel more happy than seeing other people happy. You know what I mean? And so it just sucks that I live in a world where that doesn't really work out well for you, unfortunately, with the jury of the sheeple. So anywho, if life's a game, let's play to win, you guys. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we need to know if you're going to be a winner, because I think that's actually something worth talking about with you all, so that you're aware of what you're up against. If life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.